Hello, everyone. This is China Gateway 360. Today, we're diving straight into an urgent regulatory shift, the December 1st, 2026 SAM-R mandate that is fundamentally altering contract food manufacturing in China. So back on July 8th, 2026, the State Administration for Market Regulation published the very first dedicated rules for this sector. For foreign brands that rely on contract manufacturing, this basically wipes the old legal structures completely away. It sets a brand new baseline for accountability almost overnight. Now, take a look at the contrast in these orange boxes. While we're used to EU and US standards, where primary liability sits squarely on the manufacturer, China's new approach flips that. They are introducing pre-incident joint liability. This means you, the brand owner, are now proactively responsible for supervising operations right from the start. And the financial stakes for getting this wrong? Well, they're severe. Notice that giant 30x figure? The 2025 food safety law cranked maximum fines up to 30 times the value of the non-compliant goods. If you contextualize this with that massive $47 million recall we saw in 2023, it becomes really clear. A single violation at a contract factory can now trigger multi-million-dollar penalties for you, the foreign brand owner.
Okay, so how do you know if this actually impacts your supply chain? If you follow the flowchart we have here, you'll see the rule is highly specific. If your product is sold domestically in China under an OEM or ODM agreement, mandatory compliance definitely applies to you. Export-only production, you're exempt. But the second you make domestic sales, you trigger immediate joint liability.
Meeting this mandate means stepping into a strict four-stage compliance lifecycle. It all starts with vetting a manufacturer's capacity. Then comes contracting and reporting, which you actually have to do within 10 days of signing. From there, you move right into rigorous ongoing supervision. And finally, you've got to keep an airtight document trail. We're talking about retaining materials for at least 6 months past the product's expiry date, or a strict 2-year minimum. Let's look at the 2 procurement pathways mapped out right here. Whether your brand supplies the ingredients directly or the manufacturer procures them independently, you are legally bound to actively supervise those incoming goods. This explicitly and completely eliminates the old "I didn't know" defense if a manufacturer ever decides to cut corners. Ignorance is simply no longer a legal shield. Now, let's talk numbers, because this supervision mandate translates directly into your operational budget. Looking at the orange box at the bottom, a mid-sized brand is going to need 6 to 12 annual audits. At $3,000 to $8,000 a pop, brands need to secure a $20,000 to $100,000 budget increase pretty much immediately just to build out this necessary compliance infrastructure. So with that December deadline locked in, companies are now looking at a serious 5-month sprint. Immediate action is required here. You've got to audit your existing agreements, secure that compliance budget, and deploy China-specific cloud systems that can actually handle SARM's incredibly rigid reporting formats. The clock is ticking. At the end of the day, the cost of proactive compliance is just a tiny fraction of the huge financial risk of a violation. So is your supply chain ready for December 2026? Make sure you budget accordingly and update your agreements well before the deadline. China Gateway 360 Remote China Market Entry Support, built around execution.